Started here, Carola. I was saying that yesterday there was a shitload of cops around, right? I wasn't too like concerned about it. Like I was just like whatever. But then it was told to me that judges were being targeted, that there was an armored vehicle being escorted by cops, that there was like
Basically, the city was on fire yesterday while we were at court. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. But
okay.
That the judges were being targeted. And so I call Arcadia and I'm like, hey, like, what the hell's going on? Do I need to be worried or concerned? And she said, she was very, like, hesitant. It was kind of like it caught her off guard, like, I know something I shouldn't know type shit, but also not knowing what to say. She told me to call Dark. Dark said, based on his intel, like, we should be fine. But I'm kind of in a bit of disagreement because last time we had that whole shit show. I don't know if you know about this, but like there was APCs and there were like there was a whole like prison break with some terrorists and shit. I don't know the details.
I did hear about that, and there's been sightings of weird helicopters flying around as well.
Well, apparently according to Arcadia, Justice Weiss like shot like fucking APC missiles at like people and at Bolingbrook.
What?
Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like why? Before I show you this, I was like, guys, like, why are you using tank shells on people? Like, that's literally like a war crime. You know what I mean? Like, what's next? Like fucking sniping babies and shit like that and being like they'll grow up to be a terrorist type shit. You know what I mean? And I'm like trying to like put this, and it was like, yeah, but it's like, I don't think it like clicked because that's how everyone else looks at it. Because I found out about it because people were like, what the hell's going on with that? Nonetheless, I recommended that they put out some sort of like some level of transparency because the people need to know, right? And I kind of feel like whatever the fuck was happened yesterday, there should have been some level of transparency instead of withholding information. Like, how do I put this?
Nino,
it feels like they are so concerned with.
Oh, fuck.
I feel like they are so concerned with, like arresting somebody or doing something like to whatever their goal is, that they're putting aside any concern over the public. You know what I mean? Like, we had an explosion at the court center. Do we know that was a bike?
No.
I mean, I saw a blown up bike, but that's not like compelling 100% evidence. It could have been anything.
I thought it was a bike.
Could have just driven into it on purpose.
And then this happened an hour later.
Oh God. Do you think there's anything more that they're not telling you, Nino? Wait, what the?
This got blown up yesterday, shortly after the explosion at the court center.
Shit.
Oh no, Tony worked so hard on this.
Yeah. So like
Jesus, Nino.
Yeah. So like I don't know. It's
why are you? I mean, I can understand to avoid widespread panic in the city to not tell everyone, but you're the mayor. This is your city. Why aren't they keeping you in the loop? What's going on?
I don't think they have the mental capability to think rationally at a level that is necessary for governance.
And these are the people who are, you said it was a justice who was doing this? And a marshal, which is Dark, is not giving you any information.
I don't fully like, I don't think it's on Dark, right? So Dark, whatever, let's say he has intel that that is very specific in nature, right? Like he's investigating a decision. Like it's like this, okay? It's like he's the general, right? But it's the president that would make the decision as to what needs to be said to the public. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's sort of lacking, that sort of, I think, sense. And it's a delicate matter, right? Because what if people were hurt yesterday, right? What if we got targeted yesterday? What if the court center was blown up with all those people in it?
I mean, it's if all of this madness was happening yesterday, for sure people got hurt. Fortunately, no one in courts, but it's impossible that all this happened and no one got hurt.
Yeah,
So civilian lives or people's lives are in danger. It's like I don't know. I'm just overwhelmed with all of this information, and I'm wrapping my head around it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's alarming to me. I am not certain what I want to do. Mostly because the reaction is probably not going to be positive. It's going to, because it's I don't know. It's hard to battle a mentality that's very red versus blue, right? It's law enforcement versus the world, right? They're protecting themselves. It's the mentality that like metastasized to the highest level. Like, what are you supposed to do at that point?
I think that someone has to explain to them when they're practicing OPSEC who actually they have to keep information from.
Agreed.
I think that's really important for them to know, because I can understand OPSEC perfectly, but at least you as the mayor, you need to know what's going on in the city.
The city, and that also needs to know some level, right? Like,
Yeah,
you would think it would be like, the
general and
city is
vague.
in high alert at this time. Do not be alarmed by X, Y, and Z. If approached by X, like this, and this, like, you need to stay away or you will be subject to arrest, right? Because, like, how does... I'm going to give an example. Some of the stuff that I learned about this, like, prison break where the tanks were rolled out is apparently some of these things weren't even related, right? Like, that APCs were taken out to deal with, like, military equipment. But then they were utilized on people on foot. And who's to say that, like, somebody that was doing, like, I don't know, doing it 24/7 saw cops or they were fucking with them, you know, the things that you do every sort of day, that someone didn't do that and then all of a sudden they get blown up by a fucking tank.
I mean, I think an important issue that, at least in general terms, people should know is that there are groups out there, whoever they happen to be, who do have military-grade weapons, and that's basically why sometimes military-grade weapons need to be utilized to protect the city, but not even that information is being given out. I don't know. It's just.
I will
wild
say
to,
that I want to be clear, though, that I don't want to put this on Arcadia, who was around yesterday, because I believe her when she says she's the only justice that's, like, active. So she's probably getting, understandably, a shitload of... She's got to play her own political game, right? And at the end of the day, she's got to be hyper supportive of LEOs, right? Otherwise, she's going to be targeted. You know what I'm saying?
She also has to keep herself safe.
Yeah.
She has to keep herself alive. I mean, you never know if someone has, I don't know, told her if you say anything, we'll kill you. We have no idea if she's under duress or anything.
Well, I don't think she's under duress, but I think it's more like if you... Not to, like, downplay her, but she's still, relative to past justices, fairly fresh, right? She's probably not had to deal with a lot of these things, right? Mm-hmm. And she's going to have to make decisions unilaterally in many cases, like in the moment. So I feel for that, right? Like I got an entire cabinet I can lean on you guys. I don't know how much of that she's got, right? Like granted, I'm sure she can like talk to them through emails and shit, but that's not the same thing. You know what I mean? But yeah. Well, here's what was really interesting is that yesterday evening I went to the gas station, like after the courts event. So it must have been like 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. I don't know exactly. And I saw what appeared to be like a weapon drop off. There was an armored bala with a bunch of people wearing G6 uniforms. And then there was a crew, and I think I know who they are. I don't want to say it out loud so I don't like implicate you guys. Who I think received weapons, and they were like AKs or some shit. Like they look like assault rifles.
Shit.
And like I thought to myself in that moment, I'm like, the fuck am I gonna do? You know, I don't even know what the fuck is happening. Why am I gonna die when these fucking bozos are probably gonna drop the ball anyways? You know what I mean? So like I let the PD know today. I'm like, here's all the shit that I was told, was made aware of, because you know, I don't have to tell them, but I'm gonna do it anyways, you know, just to save my own nose. But you could definitely sense like a feeling of like maybe that was, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think we just table it, let it burn? Or
I mean, what can you do?
Yeah.
Realistically, I think the only thing we could really affect is expressing the need for, you know, interdepartmental communication and transparency.
We did that.
I know.
And
So, like,
how
feels
much
like
has it been
broken record.
utilized?
I know. So what do? Do we get pulled back into this trap, or do we just keep, you know, the momentum on the court center and focus on that, and hopefully the other situation gets resolved? I don't have a good answer for you.
I mean, you know what I wanted to do yesterday that would have been really trolly? I have been made aware that there are helicopters, because the PD didn't tell me this. There are helicopters and armored vehicles and armed individuals throughout Los Santos. The Los Santos mayor's office will attempt to do its best to garner the relative intel needed. Yeah. Oh my god, that would be. I was gonna do it yesterday, but I'm like, listen, courts is going great today. I ain't gonna fuck around.
You know what you could do is you could force them to tell you. You could create a local ordinance, like home rule authority.
Well, I don't even need. But the thing is, Michael, I don't even need to know that. I need to know enough for how it affects the county. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. So when, let's say, for instance, when they take the APCs out, we legislate that they have to let the public know, you know, that they have them out, that they're in the city.
Yes.
Right. We could do something like that under home rule authority.
I think it really, I did speak to Arcadia about that, and I do think that there needs to be something basic. I also recognize it's tough, once again, that it's only her, right? So it can't be too complicated. But I agree. It should be something simple like this shit has been deployed. Because what are you supposed to think when you see... The problem is, there's been so much thin blue line pollution that I don't think that everyone necessarily realizes how people are going to react normally to these situations.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like, in other words, if they see an APC, they may not know who it belongs to. They may react irrationally, right? As people normally act irrationally in San Andreas. But the thing is, law enforcement becomes culpable. They still have a responsibility for public safety, and these
Right.
actions are the antithesis of public safety.
Right. Oh, and we know that from experience. You remember when the APC was like shooting up the entrance at the hospital? You remember how many texts? I got a ton of text messages from
Oh, and
everyone
what
in the
happened
city.
out of that? You know what I mean?
Well,
It was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
too bad, doctors. You know, we're
That was
sorry,
it.
my bad. Sorry,
and then
we
they're all
desk
reaching out to
popped
us.
into the hospital.
Right.
Yeah, Ava. Oh yeah, Ava was working surgery. Was in surgery
Right.
when that happened.
Right. She was freaking the fuck out.
So I mean, I genuinely, I don't know if I give a fuck if I listen. I'm gonna be honest with you. Good.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of fucked, but like, I mean, maybe it's a good thing if you know they're targeted. Keeps them off my back. Keeps them off our back.
Sure.
I mean, in a sick, twisted way, like, it almost sounds like whatever this threat is kind of helping people.
Sure.
They kept the cops away from Court Center. Maybe that's why it went so good.
You know, I think the one thing.
And if there are no
see,
judges, then no one can take on any things.
I don't know. I just expect people in those positions to learn from past mistakes. And if what happened yesterday is exactly as you explain it, it just sounds like the hospital APCs all over again. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
As long as I don't, honestly, there's always so much going on in the city. As long as I don't come and fuck with courts, I really, it is what it is.
Yeah.
We've tried having better communication between everybody. There's still no communication, and law enforcement has their own idea of what OPSEC entails and who is allowed information about it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if there's really much we can do anyway.
I do feel like I owe it to the people of Los Santos to at least provide something, because I think those that everyday people are still deserving of an explanation.
Yeah.
And I think that it's actually counterintuitive for them to have to rely on rumor as well. Right?
Where is Hood News when we need it?
Yeah.
I think at minimum, some type of local ordinance where heavy equipment like that is pulled out, we should require that they make an announcement and notify people that, you know, there needs to be a perimeter, don't approach. And I think it would be in the DOJ's best interest that after these situations are resolved, they put out some type of public notice, whether it be a press conference or what have you.
You know why it's not though, Michael? Is so that is something that people are going to do under a few conditions. The first condition is that they understand their responsibilities, right?
Yeah.
And they adhere to those responsibilities. That's not something that's like generally the case, no matter what. It doesn't exist in either of the PDs, right? It hasn't existed with there is no history of that in law enforcement. So let's throw that out. The second is that if there is a threat, right? Like job is on the line, right? Like think about it. If you are a civilian, you're more likely to contact the cops, 911, etc., because you don't want to get affected. You don't want to go to jail. That threat doesn't exist. And in lieu of the lack of threat over law enforcement, it's a case of invulnerability. Or not invulnerability. Invincibility.
Right.
Like, yes, we shot a hospital. And what? Yes, we fired ordnance at people. So what? Right? You're not required to make any logical justifications. I want to underline something. I went to a court case 2 days ago with Flop Dugong. Apparently he murked some cop, right? And so he's on there for a murder trial. I think it must have already been 6 weeks, maybe even 2 months. Goes into trial. Sky Faye, captain of the LSPD, states in court that there was nothing in the tape, so we never put it into evidence. I find out it's a 40-minute interrogation tape.
Let me guess. They only watched the first 10 minutes and didn't watch the whole thing.
Who knows? Who knows? And when the trial got mistrialed, she said, that sounds ridiculous or petty, or she said some shit. And when I heard this, I was just like, and now as a consequence, Flob Dugong is now having to wait for a reschedule and be on bail again. Now, some of those things are going to be resolved, but that's a mentality problem, right? That's not, that's an example of what I'm saying, is that it's a who cares moment. Her time was wasted.
Yeah.
Her time was inconvenienced. Like, I'm sorry, but
why is her time more important than Flop's? He doesn't have closure for his situation, be it one way or another, that he's either free or he's going to spend more time in jail or whatever the heck is trying to be done here.
Yes.
Why should one person's time be more important than another?
Yeah.
Now, I did bring this up with LSPD High Command. I'm like, yo, this happened. I doubt shit's going to happen with it because they got the same cop brain. You know what I mean? Like,
well, she'll probably get promoted. She's the token definition of failing upward.
Yeah. But I mean, that's across the board, right? She's not like unique entity.
Yeah. No, not at all. I agree.
Actually, wasn't Flop a police officer as well?
He was, yeah.
What is this ex-cop on cop violence? Wow.
I don't really know.
I mean,
well,
it's like
you know what's actually
like Jackie Snow allegedly also had shot a police officer. He used to be an LEO as well at some point.
He did, but he shot
wild.
them while he was on the run. So it was a consequence of that. But
yeah, I don't know the context on either of the two cases, but
yeah,
wild.
the thing is, it's the age-old PD justifying their own. When people talk about like the amount of civilians talking about like cops getting shot up, right? These are the reasons for it. I mean, it's that, you know, it is that them versus us is always in their hands, right? They're empowered to create those environments, but the environments are always, you know, it's police state mentality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, actually.
I'm going to be real honest with you. I don't think that many civilians even go to the police or report. But that could be me projecting because I no longer really do that. They failed me as a civilian so many times that I don't even make the effort anymore.
Well, look what happened to Michael.
I haven't reported a crime since that happened.
Wait a minute. Yeah, Carola, do you know what happened to Michael?
What happened to you, Michael?
We were at the resort and we were having a cabinet meeting. Ava and I stuck around, and as we were walking out, my vehicle was stolen, right? We were held up and they said they're taking the car. So I said, well, shit. Anakin from the Lumberco ended up coming and picking us up, and we went down to MRPD and I tried to report my vehicle stolen. So I put in a 911. I hung around there for about 20 minutes. No one showed up. And I said, fuck it, I'm going to go get my car. So I tracked it with my my tracker, my low jack, and it hadn't moved for like 20 minutes. It was down by the docks. We roll on down there. I get out of the vehicle, pristine condition, open the door, drive away. And as I'm driving away, there's a cop car
Bugsy
pulled
did
over
it.
on
Why
the
do we
side of
need
the road with
evidence?
the cop
Yeah.
standing outside. So I pull my vehicle over, I open the door, I put 1 foot out, take a step forward and say, "Hey, officer." And before I finish my sentence, she shoots 7 times. Hits me once in the head, once in the shoulder. Missed every other shot.
Yep.
Dog shit aim. So I'm freaking out now, right? Drive over to the hospital.
Oh, she doesn't know.
Get the bullet removed, get a medical report. And the officer is walking in with a fleet of other officers, and also Daisy Dukakis, who is a marshal sitting in the front seat of the cop's car who shot me. And I say, "I need the name of the officer who shot me, blah, blah, blah." And basically Daisy Dukakis called me a dumb fuck and told me to leave. And nothing came of it at all. There was no report made. It wasn't until about 25-ish days afterwards that me and Nino had a long conversation with it was Nova, right? And finally a report was created.
No, but she didn't do shit, brother.
No, I know nothing happened.
She literally was just like,
it.
oh, like some fucking, like, I'm not going to say it.
No, her investigation consisted of calling me down and asking me questions, and nothing happened after that.
Yeah. She didn't believe it. She thought this is some petty shit. Yeah, it's just retard logic. I mean, it's just let's call it for what it is, right? It's
I don't think she talked to Hayes even.
No, of course not.
Right?
I mean, it's it's protecting your own, right? There's another it's the notion that there's always another angle if you're not law enforcement.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. It's it doesn't make me I think genuinely when I think about all of it, it's I don't think it's something we waste our time with. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's not going to go anywhere.
Well, and I think like to what Carola was saying, that's the mentality civilians have. I'm not going to waste my time with reporting a crime because it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's if you can find a cop to report the crime too, by the way.
Right.
Because if not, you're just sitting there at MRPD hoping that someone will show up.
You know what you had to do? You had to walk outside and you had to start shooting your gun in the air. So then a ping goes off and then maybe they'll come by.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, hold up.
That's a good one, actually.
Speaking about, it's funny you say that because I told someone to do that yesterday. Oh my God. That's right. I told Tessa that.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
There's no other way to get to them.
Because like she's doing some like wild shit apparently, and like
Tessa, she seems like such a sweetie, such a chill person.
She
didn't she stab Cornwood?
She did, yeah. Well, supposedly, and then nothing happened.
Yeah.
But what else? Who was saying this? It was at the BCSO meeting. I think it was Jack is trying to look into it, right? And he was so upset because no one's taking her serious. And so yesterday I accidentally ran into her and she seemed really down and she mentioned a couple things and I'm like, I heard you're like up to no good or whatever. Like, it's you got like everything all right, and like I forgot what she said, but it led to me saying like, maybe next time like start shooting your gun in the air and then create a fucking
Yeah, just set the alarms. Just make the alarms go off if shots fired at MRPD.
Actually, no, that's
something.
That's what I told her. I told her you should next time you do some shit, go to May's bank and like murk them over there. Just pull the alarm and then just fucking right there and then. Oh fuck. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jack's a good one though. I like Jack. He tries.
He does. Yeah.
Another thing that stopped me from reporting was when I was very new to the city and the city was just rebuilt. I would let PD know when their stolen vehicles were brought into most. And
25 minutes,
Ramiel-
court center. We got to be there for the raffle, top of the hour.
Oh, shit.
Sorry,
And-
continue.
And Ramiel Raman pretty much said he was gonna kill me. So yeah,
Jesus.
knowing that PD can't protect me, working in the South Side, in a very open space, as a repair shop is. Yeah, I just decided it was a good time to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think accountability is difficult.
And by the way, and none of this is linked up to any of the conversations.
really
or
like
any of
this
our
car chat. It
situations
drives
or
well.
your situations that we're aware of.